These are from Lifted Jigs. These are an EWG Ned head. So, mega bass. This here is a talk minnow from Storm. Bubble gut, something we all, I'm sure, resonate with. Well, hello everybody and welcome back. Today I'm going to show you something fun. I was doing my nightly scroll through Facebook Marketplace the other day and I stumbled upon a flea market stall local to me that was selling, you know, some unique lures of some mega bass stuff and just some things I haven't really seen before. So I decided on the weekend to go check it out, and I managed to pick up a cool few items that are kind of rare. I don't really see often around me, so we'll get into that soon. Before I do, I want to show you a new setup that I've created here. It's a new medium spinning combo. I have my 13 Fishing Blackout rod. I picked this up on sale for like $40 Canadian. This was a while back actually, and yeah, just kind of a do-it-all like medium spinning combo for bass. This will be my girlfriend's main rod when she's throwing the bigger baits. She doesn't use a bait caster, right? So the problem was I didn't really have a good reel to go with it, and I picked up the Daiwa Revros. This is a 4000 LT. Sorry, it's a Revros LT 4000C, and it's a mighty fine reel. I've used it just the other day for the first time, and I had no issues. I have 10-pound copolymer on here. I want it now. Immediately, my regret is I didn't use a heavy enough line, I don't think. Maybe it could have gone up to like 12 or 15, but that's okay. That's really negligible, you know, as long as we're using drag, we should be okay, of course. But I want to do something simple. I'm going to put braid on this maybe eventually, but right now, you know, it's kind of a multi-use rod. You know, it's my girlfriend's main rod when we go out. And then for me, this is kind of like a Texas rig rod, I think, going forward. Like I'm going to throw the weightless Senko, weightless plastics on it, as well as this jig actually right here that's on it right now. It works good. So, you know, small jigs, things like that. It will come out with me from time to time, but for the most part, that'll be her rod. Very smooth drag on this thing. I really like it. Feels great in the hand. Lightweight. If you're looking for a bigger reel that's lightweight and you're on a budget, the Daiwa Revros is a win for me. All Daiwa spinning reels, I've really grown to like them. I picked up a Regal for my medium light actually, and that was just a fantastic reel. And so if you're under $100, my idea now is go Daiwa. They just have really fantastic spinning reels, it seems like. So now, also while I was at the tackle shop, I did pick up some jig heads here. These are the Shine Smelt head. It's just like a standard swim jig head. This is a 2/7 ounce and a 4/0 hook. I wanted something with a bigger hook. I picked up some bigger paddle tails, and I really just need that larger hook. So I was gonna just grab some, you know, plain old ones. These come in a 2-pack, and the other one is rigged up right now, but I really like the quality of these hooks and these jigs. You know, I love that hook keeper because I use a lot of Z-Man plastics, so that works good with the Elastec. But yeah, want to show these off. They're pretty interesting looking, kind of more of a higher end swim jig head. The other one I picked up, unfortunately, it's already out of the package and getting some use. This is a Berkeley underspin, and this thing is pretty nice. This is going to be my fall time go-to bait here, and maybe when I get up on the northern lakes next weekend. And I think this will do very well. Standard 2/0 hook and an underspin. Underspin is something I was really wanting to throw. I kept seeing videos of people using, and it looks like it's pretty fun. You know, I throw a lot of swim baits now. That's kind of what I'm getting more into, is like the soft paddle tails and, you know, things like that, chatterbait maybe. And the underspin seems like something I just need in my arsenal, especially when it comes to fall, when they start, you know, chasing bait fish around and that vegetation kind of goes away. And so now with this, I will be ready for that. And so now we can get into the stuff I got at the flea market. I'll start off with jig heads. You know, pretty standard thing. These are from Lifted Jigs. These are an EWG Ned head. So I use EWG jig heads a lot. I use them with a ball head, and I've never really seen the actual like Ned style head anywhere around here. But EWG Ned is kind of something you have to throw in our area on the water we fish. It's just so full of vegetation. Even with a wire guard on a Ned jig, you are still going to get hung up. So, you know, when it comes to summertime, you know, right now, kind of August, July, maybe June, you can get away with it, but then bass season isn't really open. So I find I'm almost exclusively using EWG hooks and jigs for my Ned bass fishing. So pick some up with the actual, you know, shroom style head, and these seem pretty quality. They're a nice thin hook. A lot of times, you know, EWG Neds are like really thick for whatever reason, really heavy. These are in a 1/8 ounce, And for me, this is a pretty perfect size, you know, maybe a little on the heavy side. I prefer 332nd, really lightweight Ned, but this is good. And I got this in a chartreuse color as well, which I'm going to touch on later why. But yeah, $5 for the bigger pack and $4 for the small pack. I just didn't need that many black heads. I still do have a bunch of those ball jig heads. I wanted to test these out and see how they are though. But as you can see there, really nice light wire, you know, bendable, which obviously, you know, you don't want your hooks to bend, but I like a little finesse kind of style to it. I'm using medium light rods, so that'll be good for me. But yeah, nice solid Ned head. Maybe a little small on that hook, you know, where that top of the bait goes. Might be a little small for me, but I rigged it up and it works great. So good little pickup for me. I'm not actually familiar with lifted jigs. I don't know, maybe you are. You can let me know in the comments how they are. But so far, these seem quality enough. Don't know if you see that there. They got some instructions. Very simple, obviously. Tie to line, drop in water, and reel in bass. If only fishing was always that easy. So, Mega Bass, kind of a higher end brand. You know, they're more known for their hard baits, I find. And I see some people saying the quality kind of isn't there for the price you're paying. It's a JDM brand, so it's going to be more expensive. And I've always wanted to try them. And especially these kind of finesse soft plastic swim baits. So I picked up the Hazadong Shad and the Spark Shad. So this here, the Hazadong Shad, I have this in a Morocco colorway. Very, very, very finessey. They say it's a 3-inch. To me, it almost looks more like a 2.5-inch. But as you see there, very nice light finesse. I mean, I like that clearness to it. This color is very nice. Morocco, very good color for me. Clear lakes, clear water, I think this would be great. And I'll fish on a jig. The Hazadong Shad, I see people fishing, they call it, what is it, drop swimming, drop strolling, something like that. So it's a drop shot with the paddle tail on. And you know, a lot of guys crush it with that. I don't care for the drop shot. Fishing from the bank is just kind of annoying. You can get hung up. I mean, I can just imagine how hung up that's going to get. But I will be fishing it on just a standard jig head. So I'll rig that up and show you what it looks like. How about that? On a blue 332nd ounce mule jig, the Hazadong Shad. Maybe a little long for that, but overall I think that's a really nice little presentation there. I can see this being like a crappie killer, honestly, in the springtime. Yeah, we have a lot of minnows that look kind of like this, so if that's what they're eating, this should work okay. Maybe a little bit longer shank hook on the jig, but overall I think that will be great. This is a very, very, very finesse, light, kind of small swim bait, which I love. I love that. That's my favorite thing. So will be fun to add this to the arsenal and throw around. Mega Bass, you know, they kind of, maybe a higher quality bait. I don't know. It's all kind of the same, right? Like plastic's plastic. This is pretty durable looking, and you know, you got those hard eyes, which I've never really cared about eyes on baits. Never really cared. If I want eyes, I'll buy jig heads with eyes on them. So we got here, this is the Spark Shad in 3-inch USA albino color. So it's another kind of white, almost blue tinted. As you see, the back's all Japanese. I cannot read any of that. But yeah, what they're kind of showing off is they have some fins, some appendages on the side here. Whatever. I don't know. Does that really make a difference? I will say one thing. This packaging is awful, horrific. This is obviously a little beat up. You know, it's at a flea market. It's been hanging around different places. But like staples in the back around the clamshell to cardboard, so it never really fully closes again. You just kind of peel it off like that. Hard to store. I can't wait to have these all fall out in the bottom of my bag and I have to rummage around and pick them up. But that's fine, right? We're going to fish them. Packaging is whatever. So I literally have to just slide that cardboard out, and then we got this tray of Spark Shads here. So a little bigger, a little fuller, right? Same thing though, just a really finessey paddle tail. Real small, thin kind of to the tail. Look at the action on that. That is just awesome. I love that. Really like ones with like really kind of floppy paddle tails back there. That's kind of my favorite thing. Same thing, it's got some eyes on there, some nice gold eyes. Doesn't mean anything to me, I really don't care about that. But this is a nice looking finesse paddle tail. I'm going to rig this one up for you as well on a bit bigger jig. So there it is there on the VMC Neon Moon Eye. I think this is like the glow color. Either way, that's a nice little combination there. And you know, you're going to get lots of action on that tail flapping. Very simple rigging and fishing. making use of that underspin, there it is with the Spark Shad. That's a nice little combination. I can see that working. Like I said, in the fall, this will be something I'm throwing. You have lots of action from that paddle tail, and then you have that additional willow blade as well. Should be a good little bait to throw. Very fun little rig. Tell you what, just rigging up this plastic, not the most durable. You know, nothing like the Elastec that I'm used to throwing, but overall, I think it will get the job done just fine. For $5, all these plastics that I purchased were $5. Can't go wrong there. I think it's like, Megabass is kind of pricey. I think it's like $8 for one of these little clamshells usually. So I'll take it. Small discount. Keeping with the swim baits, this here is a Talk Minnow from Storm. This is a very weird bait that I haven't been able to find much information on. This is a full-size 4-inch paddle tail swim bait, and this color is the Alande AU. I think this is like a European exclusive. Like, I see it on like Rapala's Romanian website, and that's about it. Really weird, but it's basically just a Largo Shad with that thinner presentation. That's interesting to me. I think this would be cool for like pike. I think pike will hit this, and yeah, thinner kind of. You know, the Largo Shad's a very wide, bottom-heavy bait, and that's fine. But you know, our fish up here are all like, they're eating small minnows, right? Thin minnows. So I think this is more preferred. Let me crack into this here, and I'll show you what this looks like. Now, this one wasn't really one of my first things that I was looking for when I was picking out these baits. I got to the counter with $29 worth of items, and he said, pick out one more bag and I'll give it to you for $30. So I ended up doing that, and these just caught my eye immediately. But, you know, an average kind of Storm swim bait, and pretty nice little quality soft plastic. Their soft plastic is really durable, I find. I love the Largo Shads for the reason of, on the tail, I'll try to show that to you there. You have that extra little piece of plastic there, and I find that really does get an extra kick out of the paddle tail. So we're gonna rig this on a bigger jig head. This is what you would need like a 4/0 hook for, and see how it looks. I don't care for this like live kind of like screen printed looking, you know, very realistic coloring. I've never liked that. I always like just the more basic like laminates and just solid colors with glitter. But for $1, can't go wrong. Well, I didn't really rig that up the straightest, but there you go. That's a nice, you know, bigger profile swim bait. The Talk Minnow on that Nice Shine smelt head looks pretty good to me. Something a little darker, you know, a lot of swim baits are just like white, you know, some light blues. It's always kind of the same colors. So it'd be nice to have something like this that's still got that natural look to it, but just overall a lot darker, right? And that's going to be a fun little paddle tail to throw. And finally, I'll get into my favorite brand of soft plastic. These are some Z-Man plastics. This is the Finesse TRD, very standard Ned style bait, and it's in the bubble gut color. And then this is the Hula Stick in Copper Truce. For some reason, he has green pumpkin on the label there. I think he kind of just mixes them into different bags. These are definitely Z-Man plastics, though. And this is where that high-vis chartreuse-looking jig comes in handy. So, something I've realized as I've been fishing lately is that I think a little bit of chartreuse works really well for smallmouth bass in the water I fish particularly. I fish a lot of stained water where it's not quite dark or anything. It's just got maybe some mud, or just for whatever reason it just gets like a really strong stain to it. And I think the chartreuse really helps the fish see that bait in the water. Recently I fished the Tightrope Firework jig, and I did really well with it. And I think specifically why was because I had a black with some chartreuse on the bottom. It was a summer craw color, and I think that chartreuse really helped bring those fish to the bait. And I wanted to kind of use that to my advantage here, and I wanted to pick up a color like this where it has that laminate with that chartreuse. And I think this will work really well with the high-vis chartreuse-looking lifted jig. So you got your high-vis lifted EWG Ned here, and you rig it like you would just a standard EWG. It's a really small kind of lip there, so I gotta just barely hook that thing at the tip, bring it around, and then I'm gonna hook it through here. There you go. How about that? Then you can Texpose it. The Elastec's a little hard to work with for that, but there we go. I like that. I like that a lot. So Elastec floats. You're gonna have this tail going crazy. The hula stick has these appendages here, which kind of give it like this almost maybe like I don't know if it's a kind of imitating a craw or what that's really imitating. Maybe more like a fin on a fish. Either way, drag that on the bottom. Do some bouncing. I think that's gonna look really good. I like the way that color pairs there, and the hula stick, something that'll be fun to throw. It's a little 4-inch bait, a bit big for like a real standard Ned, but overall I think that'll look very good in the water. Yeah, I really am excited to throw this. I think that'll be good. And then we have here the Bubble Gut. This is a Finesse TRD, very standard Ned bait, kind of the original, really Ned style bait, one that I've never really thrown. For whatever reason, as much as I throw the Ned, I'm always kind of throwing a different plastic, but this is just a standard little, I think it's a 2.75 inch. Yeah, so 2.75 inch, real small little stick bait. And this is called the Bubble Gut color because it has a little bit of bubble gum in it, but that top is black. That's a great name, by the way. You know, Bubble Gut, something we all, I'm sure, resonate with. And this is gonna go good on that EWG Ned. This will be paired with the black color. So this is the one problem I have with these lifted jigs. As you can see there, that hook point kind of sticks out a little too far for me with a lot of these kind of baits. So it ends up looking a little wonky when you're using these real small kind of finesse baits. And I don't know, I mean, this is my first time with like a EWG Ned, so maybe they kind of have that characteristic usually. But like, still looks pretty good. That's pretty nice. Very standard, you know, Ned on that EWG kind of jig. And yeah, so Bubble Gut, same kind of idea. I think a little bit of brightness to the color of that bait is going to help. Bubblegum kind of is interchangeable with chartreuse. I prefer chartreuse. I don't really have luck with bubblegum, but in the color here, you know, just a little tinge to it might be enough to kind of grab the bass's eye, and they'll slurp that right up off the bottom. Very nice looking. Texpose, see what I mean with that? Kind of that hook kind of just ends up sticking out a bit. It's hard to do with these Elastec's. You get that weird like Texpose thing there. That's gonna get like pretty hung up, maybe a little too easily. Could do maybe sink that in a little better, but overall, nice little jig with a nice little Ned. That is a very standard fish catching machine. So there we go. Lots of fun, interesting kind of baits. You know, some standard stuff. I really like to keep my fishing technique simple nowadays and just change up a little bit of colors and looks and things like that to really kind of finesse those fish on hard days. But right now I'm fishing moving baits, you know, just some swim baits, some pretty standard stuff, and then it's just kind of Neds and, you know, Texas rigs and the boring stuff. So, you know, this kind of just adds on to that and gives me a little bit more versatility, a little bit more variety when it comes to fishing techniques like that. So either way, thank you all for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe. And tight lines out there, everybody. Take care.